And welcome back to the Auto Authorities. My name is Jay with iAuto Agent coming to you live, and we've got Gerald coming to you
Hey.
live today. Oh my goodness, Gerald, we're going to talk about a market update, but this is crazy what is going on in the auto industry. And today we're going to talk about all kinds of things to help you make an educated decision when you're buying your next car, because these are some things you need to know. What are your
Yeah,
takes on it, Gerald?
it's really kind of crazy. It's in a way, it's the best of worlds and it's the worst of worlds right now for car dealerships. If you're going to a Toyota dealership, if you're going to a Honda dealership, and even if you're going to a Chevrolet dealership looking for certain models, they're not going to be there. Here, just a quick toss-up question. Unscripted, unprepared reality of what's going on in the auto market right now. Jay, you're a automotive sales expert with 30 years of experience. How many new Toyota Corollas do you think are on the ground in a 300-mile circle of us? Because we're on opposite ends of Missouri. You're in St. Louis, I'm in Kansas City. So I'm covering the state of Missouri. You want to go buy a Corolla, America's car, right? America's first car, the car you get for somebody graduating high school, the car you get for somebody graduating college, the Corolla. How
Five.
many Corollas do you think there are?
Five.
Yeah, you're pretty you're pretty damn close. If we exclude ones that were damaged by the recent hailstorms
Yeah.
in Kansas City and St. Louis, yeah, it's under 10.
It's
That's
unbelievable.
crazy.
It is.
Under 10.
And
And
those are the
Camrys
car
are close.
and those are the cars that people want. And when you think about it, what do people want? They want economical. They want something that's going to meet their budget. They want something that is reliable,
Mhm.
all the above, and the Corolla totally falls into that spot. I'm assuming the Civic is probably very similar in that too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And then why is that? What's happened? I mean, are they still making Corollas and Civics? I mean, yeah, but they're not making as many of them as they used to. And when they're hitting the ground, they are gone.
Yep.
21 Honda Civics right now, a 21 Civic with about 15,000 miles is trading for more than new MSRP on that same car because they're
Yeah.
just not there.
No. It's all supply and demand, and we talk about this all the time, Gerald, is the greater supply, the prices go down, the lower supply. And I truly think, and I've been saying this with you for a while, I think that Toyota and Honda, they're doing this on purpose. It used to be, oh, we don't have the chips, we can't make them. Well, now they can make them, but they're not. And it's smart on there. It's really smart because they're making more profit. They
Mhm.
have less overhead. Like it's genius. And none of the other manufacturers don't even they're not doing this.
Well, yeah, that may be a little harsh. Here, let's think about it. This is something that's
I like to
once
be.
you hear it, it's so mind-numbingly obvious. What cost more to make? A Chevy Traverse or a Chevy Silverado?
It's going to be a Chevy Traverse, easy,
Yeah.
because yeah, because it just is.
Yeah,
It has a
why?
back on it.
Yeah.
It
It
has a
has a
roof,
back, it
a
has a
roof.
roof, it has back seats, it has heating and cooling ducts back there. It has an
Yeah,
interior, it has carpet and everything, it has windows. A pickup truck has a box. It
yeah,
has a box. You go to the back of the second seat, cut it off, and you get a box.
yeah.
Yet, what costs more money to buy?
It
A
costs more
truck.
money to buy it. Well, and if you watch the news now, not the news, the commercials, they are taking huge money off the prices,
Sure.
and this is a little golden nugget for you if you don't know this, they're taking huge money off the prices of these Silverados, the Rams, and the F-150s, is because they can't sell them.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because they can still take more money off because you can get a high country Silverado and you're touching $90,000. The car costs less to make than a
Yep,
Traverse LT at 40,000.
it's a good
They're
point.
pure profit. So no,
Yeah.
they understand the profit margins.
Oh yeah, they
There's a
do.
reason why domestic brands try on pickup trucks and everything else is a rounding error. That's what makes the money.
Here's another story for you, and I love story time. So we had one of my close colleagues sent somebody to Auto Agent, and they wanted to sell. Listen to this, and I know what you're going to think. 2023 Chevy Silverado, fully loaded, 5,000 miles on it, and they wanted to get out of it and get into another vehicle. What do you think happened? Just take a guess.
Probably didn't end well. I'm going to say they were 15,000 upside down.
$15,000. Yeah. And that's actually with us selling it. If they were to go to a dealership, they would even been more out of equity, because when they bought that vehicle, they bought that vehicle probably for sticker price at that time because you couldn't get them. And now you can get them left and right, and they're
Yeah,
doing huge discounts. We just told them it wasn't a good fit. And what do they want to do? They want to lower their payment and get into another vehicle.
sure.
Holy cow. You've got $400+ a month just in equity. Folks, like, take advantage of it if you're wanting to buy a vehicle. But just like Gerald said, even if they take $8 and $10 and $12,000 off those vehicles, they're still making huge amounts of money because of like you said, what it costs to make.
Now, there is going to be a tipping point though, because speaking from experience, having been a domestic manufacturer sales manager, the manufacturer is doing fine. Even Stellantis, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram's parent company, they had a profitable quarter. Their stock's at the high mark of the year. Dealerships, major market dealerships for Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, they're down 80% versus their historic averages. They're not making money. The dealership, point blank, they're not. They're screwed.
Yep.
I mean, what do you want to do right now if you own a Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram
Sell
dealership?
it.
You want to find some moron that's ready to buy it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no good end. The
No.
manufacturer though, they're fine. They make a vehicle called the Ram Classic, the Ram 1500 Classic. That's just a slight rework of the model from '08. That thing's been paid off. All the tooling and everything's been amortized since 2013. It's pure profit. And it has almost none of the new features in it. They did add Uconnect screens. Well, they can sell that thing like this, Every
Yeah.
plumbing truck, every construction truck, you can pump them out, but they're not making enough of them because they're trying to pump the new Ram, which costs more. So your dealerships are in a bind while the manufacturer is doing fine. So that's where you're going to get the tipping point, and that's what you're seeing now, because
Yeah.
some of these brands are getting to the point where dealerships are doing the unthinkable. They're saying, yeah, we don't want the car. It's okay. We don't need it. Like,
Hmm.
here, check this out. Nissan, who is perpetually the slowest selling of the major import brands, the little third of the big three from Japan, Nissan is paying dealers up to $2,000 extra to take cars, to accept new cars, because dealerships are turning them down. There's a backlog of
Mm.
Nissans that were built that haven't been able to get shipped because the dealerships are turning down their allocations. One small
Interesting.
problem for Nissan, it could violate franchise laws because they're not giving the vehicle at the same price to every dealer. So that's
Well,
that's a first.
let's do a 180 to used car market right now. And I'm still seeing the market dropping, and the Manheim index is low.
It's going to start going up though, because here's what's happened over the last week. I don't think the books have caught up yet. NADA, JD Power is what it's now referred to, book, which is kind of the book of record. That's what the banks use to value cars. It hasn't moved yet. Black Book hasn't moved yet. MMR, Manheim Market Report, starting to tick up, but the sign that used cars are going to start spiking is the day supply of used cars on dealership ground, and most importantly, what CarMax is willing to pay. CarMax has laid out a program called Max Offer, which is a dealership design program. CarMax has hired reps to go to dealerships and get dealerships to sell their cars to them. And they are spiking their numbers up. Max Offer bids on fast selling cars right now are running 3,000 to 4,000 above NADA JD Power suggested retail. Not 3,000 to 4,000 above trade value, 3,000 to 4,000 above suggested retail. If that's happening, that means used car prices are going to go one way, up. And it is happening.
Here's the other thing that we have to take into account too on that note is that the amount of leases that have been that were done during COVID times and whatnot, they were way down, which means that's going to hurt the supply in used cars. And again, the supply and demand, when you don't have the supply, then they got to get the vehicles from somewhere. And one of my dealer colleagues that we've worked with, that's exactly what CarMax is doing, is they're actually going to dealers and they're offering them $500 more than that they would give somebody on a trade-in. Now, the other thing with CarMax though, too, is what we found is in order to get, a value from them, you actually have to pretty much go into CarMax now. They're not even doing these online things anymore, because what we do is we shop CarMax. So at iAutoAgent, when we take a vehicle and somebody wants to sell it, we're looking at CarMax, we're looking at Carvana, we're looking at dealers. We're kicking their ass. Like iAutoAgent is absolutely kicking CarMax's ass. Here's the issue, is that you're not going to get the value with CarMax on most of the cars that we're looking at unless you actually go in there. And that's kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, that's one of the things where Carvana has, is that they'll give a value. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get that value. There's a, inspection process. Mm-hmm. So you better be honest in what your vehicle really looks like. But it's very, very interesting. And you do bring up a good point. And I think that that's something for our listeners to understand, is that that supply and demand is very, very powerful. And these big players out there are predicting of what's going to happen. So if that's the case, if you have a newer vehicle that's probably not a Stellantis or Jeep Chrysler and it's a Toyota, Honda.
If it's a Jeep Wrangler, man, they're in on those too. So it's any given car, because it's just such a different world right now. I've been able to look at auction runs, and here, auction runs are the two major auctions here in the Kansas City area. 900 some cars. The average mileage of the cars that ran through the auction was over 120,000. And if you exclude repos from Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, there's almost no cars that ran out of the 900 that were under 100,000. So where are the dealerships going to get the cars? They're not buying those. So you have to get them from somewhere. And here, did you ever watch Storage Wars?
Where they I don't know if I've ever seen. Is that the one? Where they go through the storage?
Yeah, they go through the storage lockers. Yeah, they have the auction. Yeah. And the one guy who had dominated it, Dave Hester, he would go to the auction and stand there and go, yep, and just keep saying yes until he got the bid, because he had the money to spend. He had some stores that he owned, so he wanted to buy everything. That's what CarMax buyers are like at the auction. CarMax goes to the auction. They could care less what they pay for the car. the buyers may as well be, I mean, you could have a trained chimpanzee be the auction buyer for CarMax. It doesn't matter. They tell them to go there and buy 300 cars. Doesn't matter what it is, because CarMax at its core, here, what the hell? We may as well be honest, right? CarMax at its core, how CarMax makes money is financing the cars. And CarMax owns their own bank. It's CarMax Auto Finance. So guess what advantage that gives them? Every other dealership, you have to use trade-in value as the basis for what you can finance. CarMax, doesn't matter. They're a glorified buy here, pay here. They need cars. They need metal that they can sell financing to. So they're going to go and say, yep, until they get the cars they need to fill their lots. That's why they're going to dealerships now and paying crazy amounts for cars. They can't sell their loans if they don't have cars.
Yeah.
And there's 8 million less cars sold over the last 5 years than historic average. So do the math. And that's what's happening. That's why dealerships are running out of used cars.
Well, I'd say this. First of all, because obviously I'm the CEO and founder of iAutoAgent, I want people to come to iAutoAgent when they want to sell their vehicle. And especially if you have a lower miles vehicle, that's a very, very desirable vehicle. And just like what Gerald's saying, when they get into the, over 100,000 miles, it does take a lot of people out of the market. And it also is more risky for lenders, right? Because you don't have a warranty on that vehicle. So you're not going to get as good of interest rate with that. But, the double-edged sword is, vehicles are expensive. And, with interest rates, I mean, here in St. Louis, the very best rate you can get on a 5-year is 6.24% right now. That's the best rate. And that's for a newer vehicle. When you get an older vehicle, it goes up from there. And that means you're going to be paying a lot of money.
The best I've seen in the country is through Navy Federal Credit Union. They're doing 5.25 for 48 months on a 21 or newer. But
what
that's
about a 5-year though?
Then you're up to around 6. That's tier 1 plus at 4 years.
Yep.
And,
Nobody wants a 4-year.
No.
People want 6 years and 7 years. There's somebody that has an 8-year financing here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
What?
96 months, 96 short months. But hey, take a look at this too, because here's the other problem. What some dealerships have gone to, and I'm seeing this across the country, especially up in the Northeast, where they're even more of a scarcity of cars. Dealerships, franchise dealerships, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Chevy, Ford, big boy dealerships, multi-million-dollar buildings, right? Especially in the Northeast, nothing's cheap. They're selling 150, 200,000 mile cars. And our friend, the car dealership guy, I thought had a great point about this, and 100% true. Selling high mileage cars is like having a night out on the town drinking. It feels great while you're doing it. It's all fun. But then you get sick. Then you start throwing up because you drank too much. And then after you wake up, shower, kind of clean up, then you realize what you did. Because the problem is, you sell that 150, 170,000 mile car and you're a major dealership, and everybody that looks at you, including our friends, the attorneys, see, hey, that's a multi-million-dollar company. They sold this piece of junk to you and they're experts. You need a new car. And if you're a dealership, I learned this from the first dealership I worked at. If you're a dealership and you get sued, you lose.
Yeah.
You want to settle or handle it before it gets to the lawsuit. So instead of making $5,000 selling that 2013, now let's just throw out a car, Ford Explorer, you really ended up probably losing 5,000 because you're going to have to tow that pig in. You're going to have to get a new engine, or you're just going to have to buy it back and give that person a bunch of money off to buy a newer car. No good end to it. And they're ticking time bombs because what's happening, the 12, 13, 11 cars, the first generation of the fuel saving technology, it's fallen apart, and they're like $8,000-9,000 to just fix those elements. It's not
Really?
worth even trying. Yeah, run
Well,
away.
well, everybody, thank you so much for coming to see us today at the Auto Authorities. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe on our YouTube channel, the Auto Authorities. We go live Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Facebook group page, the Auto Authorities, and LinkedIn. And we're on 19 different channels, such as iTunes, Pandora, Google Podcasts. Send us a message at theautoauthorities.com. That's theautoauthorities.com. I'm Jay Grosman. I'm the CEO and founder of iAutoAgent, and that is Gerald Bentley. And we will see you next week. Peace.
See ya.